Welcome to episode 9 of the Building Interactive Website series. This video will go over an introduction to JavaScript and how to insert it in our websites. Firstly, let's start with some basic information about JavaScript. JavaScript is a scripting language which allows you to add interactivity to websites and make them interesting to use. And they're used in the majority of websites that you find on the web. So if you see an interactive element on a website, it's probably powered by JavaScript. Even this sandbox here that I've been using for this entire series makes use of JavaScript. So now let's go over how to insert JavaScript in our page. The first way of doing this is by linking to an external JavaScript file located elsewhere. So here you can see I have some example JavaScript code here located at this URL, which should print out hi example code printed out something to the console. In order to link this script to our page, we make use of the script tag. We can put it in either the head tag or the body tag, this script tag. For now, I'm going to keep it in the body tag, so that way this script runs after all the content is loaded. So we can add an src attribute, which is short for source, and then copy and paste the URL of the script. And now if we run it, it prints a message to the console, so we should get that same message. And it prints out exactly this string here. So it says, hi, example code printed out something, so that means it's worked. Additionally, we can also keep this script in the head tag while still making it run after all the content has been loaded by moving it to the head tag and adding defer to the end of this opening tag here. So defer means that the loading of this script will be deferred or delayed until all the content has been loaded. So if we run the code, you can see this message still appears. If we don't want to link to an external file, we can also copy the JavaScript code directly into our HTML for our website by making use of internal scripts. Internal scripts work exactly the same way as external scripts, except you don't include this src or source attribute. You can still have it in the head or body or add defer to it, but instead of linking to an external script, you type the code that you want to be executed inside the script tag. So, for example, if I wanted to print out a message, I would do console.log and then a left and right pair of parentheses and two quotes inside, and then a semicolon at the end, and then for a test message in this quotes, I can just say, hey, I'm testing here. And you can see if we run the code now, you can see the same message appears. The third and final way of adding scripts that we'll go over in this video is by making use of inline event handlers on HTML content elements. In order to showcase multiple event handlers at the same time, I'm going to create a text area element, which is an element that can be both clicked and values can be inputted into it, as in the value and the text inside this text area can change. So if you type on and the attribute autocompletion here, you can see there are a lot of attributes that start with on. These are all event handler attributes that can take JavaScript code as their attribute values. An example that we can try is onClick, which runs the JavaScript code inside these quotes here when the element is clicked. So for example, if I were to say console.log clicked, and you have to use single quotes here because we're already using double quotes in the attribute value, surrounding the attribute value. So if we did double quotes, then it would think that we're finished writing the attribute value early, and it wouldn't parse any of this after this quote here. So we have to make use of single quotes here. And now if we run the code, you can see when we click this text area, a click message appears every time we click on it. Another example event handler to try is on input, which fires when you type text into the text area or remove text from it. And this also takes in JavaScript code. And instead of clicked, I'm going to say inputted so that we know precisely what the event is. And now you can see when we type text into it, into this text area, you can see inputted comes up in the console here. There are several more event handlers as well, some of which you can find by typing in on after this name of the tag here and looking at all of the different handlers available. Additionally, there's also MDN, which has a whole list of event handlers to look at here. So I'll link this in the description because it's got a lot more than what I can cover here. So it's worth taking a look if you're curious. This is a way of detecting events that happen to specific elements. But the problem with this method is that it's really difficult to maintain on a large scale if you have a lot of elements on your page. And also, it mixes JavaScript with HTML. Whereas if you use a script tag, then there's a clear division between the JavaScript code and the HTML code. So professional developers tend to use this method very rarely, but it's still worth knowing if you want to detect a specific event. Although there are other ways to do it, which we'll cover later on in this series. However, for now, this concludes episode 9 of the Building Interactive Website series. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure to look out for the next episode.